Welcome everyone to another episode of My Garden, My Home. Today we are in my hometown, Santa Cruz Valley. Santa Cruz is very unique in terms of the amount of humidity you would get up here for your plants, not just bromeliads, but plants in general. The amount of rainfall we consistently get throughout the year and the amount of shade we have. So the sun would not be as it is in different areas. I remember the first time visiting Central and feeling that heat. I was like, but wait, like the devil vacation in here? How are you hot so? Now it's not the sun hotter in these areas. It's just that due to the humidity there being low, the breeze itself is warm, the sun is on you, so you feel uncomfortable. Santa Cruz, we do that. It's nicest up here. What we have up here is a nice humid area. On a morning, the mountain is filled with mist and fog, so the breeze is cool throughout the day. Right now is after 12, and the breeze is nice. How that affects your plants? Well, plants love a lot of humidity, especially bromeliads. Bromeliads enjoy relative humidity around 50 to 75. They love that. So your bromeliads will get big, nice, healthy. But the sun, due to us being in a valley, sun rises a bit later here. Whereas in Central, where it's flat, you will get 6, half past 6, the sun done up, do anything. Up in Santa Cruz here, certain areas, you will see the sun 8 o'clock, 10 to 8, quarter past 8, the sun now coming up because the mountains block it. So your plants wouldn't get that level of exposure. So it wouldn't be as brightly lit. So you'll have to do a lot more moving around maybe than people in other areas to get the best out of your plants. But your plants could be healthy. Rain, we have that here in abundance whole year. So the cups will be filled with natural rainwater. In other areas, people will have to use their pipe water mainly, which is good. Plants will grow with the hard water, bromeliads as well. But if you have bromeliads, you'll want to flush the cups out every week or two to get rid of that mineral buildup inside the cups. But instead of deposit the minerals in there, sometimes you will see a type of white residue sometimes in the cups. That is minerals building up in there. We don't really have that problem much here because we have nice rain. But anyhow, welcome to this episode of My Garden, My Home.
Hi guys, Daniel from Gardenscape Designs here again today. And I want to talk about gardening, what gardening does for me. Now we are here in Santa Cruz at a very lovely garden, and I was so glad when the homeowner, Miss Pam, invited us to come and do a feature on her garden. Now, for gardening for me is a way of life. It was not like this all the time. Over the years, having to deal with different stresses and stuff like that, I had to find an outlet for release. I had to find something other than just, probably going out to dinner, probably going to the cinema, going on a hike. I had to find something natural for a release. And I found it in gardening. Every inch of grass, every flower, every time that you actually put your hands in the soil and dig, is part of the stress release process for me. And a lot of people may not have outlets to actually release stress and to do very healthy hobbies at their home because of the stresses and the back and forth and with the kids and with the family and with the jobs and stuff. It's very good to have a hobby inside of your home, right? And for me, gardening is it. So I have Pam here. I just want Pam just to say a bit about what gardening actually does for her. What her garden actually does for her. We are at home. Her garden is her home. It's also my home. It's also my home. Garden is also my home. So I just want Pam to just tell us today what it is this space brings to her.
Hi everyone. Well, for me, ever since I was growing up, I always had the likeness for the yard, the plants, and the gardening. And I just love to see the beautiful plants. And as I got older, I decided to go into it fully. So much so that I did it professionally. I went and I did courses. I did a course at UWI, a landscaping course at UWI. And I have actually set up my own landscaping business. And but for me, at home here, I do this because it is therapy. As Kwame said, it helps to relieve the stress. So on mornings, I will come out here and I will sit and I will, think of what I will be doing during the day. And I will say my prayers, have my cup of coffee, and just admire the nature. It is also a form of, I use it as a health benefit also because I I get all my exercise from doing gardening. Gardening is, you can say, is a gym. You pull, you stretch, you bend, you do all sorts of activities that you do in the gym. You do it in your yard, and so I look at it also as a health benefit. Um, all in all, I just love the idea of gardening, to see all the different plants and to watch a plant go from small, from a little tiny, tiny bud, and to see it grows into a beautiful plant. For me, that is really the climax of gardening.
Guys, remember, life started in a garden. Life started in a garden. And this grass, just put in the grass. This is life. The leaves on the tree, the color, everything is so natural. Sometimes 9 o'clock in the night, you're looking through the window, looking at your plants. Sometimes you're getting up before the light even come off properly. Before the sun even come out, you're going out to look at your plants. Why are you going to look at your plants? Because you're trying to detox. They have a very spiritual connection, something that people who are not into plants may not understand. So I encourage you, whether it's bromeliads or whether it's just our lovely tropical plants that we have, get into plants. Try picking up that particular hobby, and you'll see exactly how much it actually does for you. Your wife might think you're a madman. Your children may not understand. Your friends might say, you good, we? But trust me, try it. It is very detoxifying and it's a very healthy something to do. So today I'm going to carry you through the garden, and while we're going through this garden, it have a lot of teaching points. It's a small garden, but it's a beautiful garden. It is Palm's place. It is her home. It is her garden. Hi guys, small place, but yet a lovely place. So in this area here, we're going to see a couple of tropical plants. We're going to see bromeliads, and this is life here, guys. This is life here, guys. This area is on the western side of the home, and mind you, the sun right now is shifting more to the north. So those of you guys who are at work and don't have time to look at your plants and monitor them, you need to actually get them moving. Or if somebody is home, start to monitor them. The sun is shifting pretty fast going towards the north. So we're on the western side of the home here, and we are just looking at some of the tropical foliage in which she has here. So the concept of this, it's always good to have gardens with tall plants, which is your trellis. And we see that she used some heliconias here, which are very tropical, which are very beautiful tropical plants. They come with different color flowers. They could be mistaken for the bird of paradise. These heliconias are the fillers. And then in the center here, we have like pseudoranthemums. You have multiple different types of pseudoranthemums. We have what we call the bung plants or boundary plants. Some people will call them boundary plants, but in actuality, these are cordyline, various types of cordyline that she actually used to fill this area. And she also used these lovely bromeliads to create a garden edging, as well as with the blocks. A lovely area using these bromeliads to create a lovely garden edging as well as the blocks. So we're going to start with the top of the garden here, and let's look at some of these plants. Now you'll notice that most of these plants here, or almost all the bromeliads, are in terracotta pots, clay pots. Now, because of I like the use of these particular pots in this area. Santa Cruz could be a bit humid, and where does she have these tall plants? They create a natural barrier for the sun for these lovely bromeliads. You see, sometimes some people would use shade cloth, they would actually use greenhouses, but it looks a bit unnatural. Yes, it might be decorative, but what it is actually like in landscapes is natural looking landscapes. So with the use of tall plants like the heliconias, which would grow up to probably like 10 feet, 15 feet, you don't want to go too tall with your plants though, with your trellis. Reason being, because if it is that it is too tall and too much away from the bromeliads, it would lose its effectiveness in creating that shade, right? We are on the right hand side of me is also a house, a two-story house. So what you're going to find is that you have this the house, it's going to be actually blocking some of the sun that will be coming up. So we're on the western side now, the sun comes from the east, so some of the morning sun is cut out. Bromeliads love the sun, and we are in Santa Cruz now. So sometimes even in Santa Cruz, you could get away with keeping some of your so-called partial sun plants, 50% plants in full sun, and you could get away with it. All depends on which part of Santa Cruz that you're from, all right? So we're looking at these terracotta pots here, as I was speaking just now a while ago. And she did not use plastic pots. She did not use any concrete pots. She didn't use any other fancy pots, but clay pots. And these pots are very good to use in the garden in this area, and I'll tell you why. Usually plastic pots would hold a lot of humidity inside and it is less free draining. Whereas clay pots, you probably would have to water your plants as often. They don't hold that humidity inside. And remember, bromeliads, for them to actually look healthy and for the leaves to look lush and nice, they need some humidity in the roots. So for a place like Santa Cruz, let's just say, because of all this natural cover that she would have and the humidity because of the mountains and stuff like that, she could get away for long periods without actually watering these plants and tending to them. And even if it is that they tend to actually dry out, especially like in open areas where it is you have a lot of sun, she wouldn't have much problem with the plants looking unhealthy. All right, look at this bromeliad. This is a favorite of many people. This is Johannes de Rolf. Again, you see it popping up in the gardens again. A plant that gets to about 2 feet wide. But if it is that you look at it, the color on this bromeliad is not as strong as it could naturally be. Now, some folks, they like the bromeliad pretty color, so you would get all the red going straight into these leaves. And some people don't like it all that colored up. So let's just say if the homeowner was to actually get this a bit more with color, and she don't want to see all that green inside of it, she could put that on the lower end where it don't have any heliconias. And the no coverage, so it would get direct sun. So sometimes it could actually shift around the plants. It's a small area, so she could afford to have the time to shift around. Bigger areas, not so much. So these are a lot of hardy plants that she has in here. So this area don't need much water at all. You have cordyline, you have the snake plants. All these are very, very, very hardy plants. It's a very lovely area, a small area and a peaceful area. An area where it is you could actually come out and give God thanks. You could pray and you could find inspiration in this particular area. This plant here, this is Lou Wilson. Now, most of these plants are what we would call in Trinidad commercial plants. Why? Because they are usually easy to get and they are not the hybrids that some people would actually seek, but still lovely plants. This one is Lou Wilson. If it is, you take this plant and you carry down further down to the end where it is you're not getting any shade from your trellis, which is your tall plants, you're going to get some more purple color coming into this plant here. The water feature, a lovely water feature. If it is you think about water, water has a very soothing song. When water hits the rocks, when water falls from a height, and that is why so much of people like the outdoor activities and stuff. And you get a lot of that in Trinidad. You get a lot of that in the north as well, where it is you have outdoor places where it is you could get that refreshing feeling from water. And I have one of these in my yard. I have a small fountain. You don't need to have a big pond. You don't need to have a big pool, but a small area that can actually provide you with that gentle, soothing song would be very, very lovely. So we want to talk about the sun as well and the direction of the sun. So we have an area here, as I mentioned, it is on the western side. The sun is shifting fast north, right? The sun is shifting fast north. It was south just a couple of weeks ago, but it is shifting fast north. Again, look at your plants. Now, you're going to find that because the sun is shifting fast north, these plants here, which is on this end of the garden, are going to be taking more sun. It's going to be taking some more sun. So if it is that you have any sort of plants that you need to get more sunlight and you want to plug them directly into your landscape, it would be very fine to do that here. The mulch is another lovely feature. I love the mulch that is actually used here. The black mulch, usually you would see red, but the black mulch gives you that sort of earthly feeling and that sort of earthly tone, in which I do enjoy, in which I do love. I like this as well, a very lovely feature that a lot of people would have in their gardens. It attracts hummingbirds. No hummingbirds here right now, probably I run them with my ugly face. No hummingbirds right now, but it's a very lovely feature to attract the hummingbird, which is very native to Trinidad, and we have a lot of species and varieties from them here. So as we walk through this particular garden, it's a small area, but it's an area that has a lot of love and a lot of inspiration, a lot of thought went into behind it. A garden is where someone expresses the thoughts, the emotions, the feeling, the pride, the joy. So over a period of time, this area could actually extend and she could have more ideas and more impetus inside of this particular area here. This plant, we look at it, it's a lovely foliage plant, but it has some shade cover here, some natural shade cover here that is preventing it from getting the full sun in which it would need. This one here is gunpowder, a 2000 piece by Skotak and Tristram. The size of this plant right now, or the width is 60 centimeters. Now, this is a medium grower. Remember, guys, medium growers go from 40 centimeters to 60, sometimes up to 65 centimeters. And the large growers is from 70 centimeters, go back. So 1 meter, 1.3 meters, etc. There's a very lovely plant that we actually imported in the earlies, and it's a nice piece. It's a piece that I would say you could go with it. It's a low budget, but it's a very lovely piece. White Johannes again. This white Johannes. Now remember, some people might be afraid to burn up the plants and they might be afraid to actually throw it in the sun. Don't worry, this your white Johannes could definitely take some more sun. Look at the white inside of this foliage. This is white Johannes with the white variegation, not cream like the Johannes de Rolf, but this pink here. This pink is not really pronounced at the edge of the leaves. So in giving it more sun, and this is a full sun plant, full sun Trinidad sun, this could actually go straight into the leaf and bleed into the leaf. This is a must-have collector for the Johannes fans. It gets massive, 3 feet wide, sometimes 1 meter, and a third as well. It's a big, big grower. Candy apple. This candy apple is nice. It's flowering. So once a plant is flowering, guys, especially for the newbies who might not know, once you see that lovely flower come up, there are no more leaves coming out of the central cupping area. That is it. So once this flower, no more leaves come out from the central cup area, and you could look forward to be getting some pops, right? So we're seeing like a pop coming out here. So the plant realized that it has matured, and now it is sending some pops so that the homeowner could get to replace this particular plant after, sell, or give me when it is I call and I run out of one. Odorata, another alcanteria. We saw this in a couple of videos. Go out and get your odoratas. It's not the typical broadleaf plant where you would actually see all those other odoratas. It's not the typical broadleaf plant. It's a very thin leaf plant. But the silver foliage, watch out this. You could actually wipe that silver off of the plant. You could actually wipe that silver off the plant. It has a very like a powdery substance and a silvery foliage, which is very, very, very magnificent. Whether it's wet, whether it's dry, it looks beautiful. I hope that you enjoyed this feature today. Thanks for watching. This is Daniel from Gardenscape Designs, and look forward next week for another episode of My Garden, My Home.